Hi, and welcome to another episode of Legislative Report. I'm your state representative, Ryan Mackenzie. Today, we're here at the Rodale Institute in Berks County, and I'm joined by Justin Barclay. Justin, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for coming out here.
Well, why don't we start? You're a veteran farmer yourself, and you were in the military.
Correct.
And now you're working with other veterans here at Rodale Institute. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the Institute in general, and then also what you're doing with the veterans?
Sure. So the mission of the Rodale Institute is to get people into organic agriculture and to really bring the positive benefits of regenerative agriculture up into the forefront of the industry.
Okay, and then when you're working with veterans, what's their role here on the farm?
The veterans come here and they participate as veteran interns, so they're learning all the different aspects of farming that occur here, whether it's vegetable production, livestock production, compost with orchards.
Great. And so how do you find these individuals, or how do they find you?
I would say a lot of it's a little bit of both. Some of them just find us by simple Google searches on the internet. You know, Rodale has a pretty good reputation throughout the U.S. and beyond, so some people find us that way. But we also do a lot of outreach and recruiting events at different veterans organizations, whether it's Crosstalk there in Berks County or Lehigh Valley Military Affairs Council meetings in Hellertown, and some other veterans-related groups and activities within the greater Lehigh Valley area.
Terrific. Now, the property that we're on here, it's a very big space. Can you tell us how large it is and what are the different elements of this farm here?
Sure. The Rodale Institute main farm here, it's 333 acres. It is an organic certified farm. They have kind of three primary goals that they try to accomplish here, with them being research, farmer training, and consumer education.
Great. And so those different elements, how do they play into your work with the veterans?
Though the aspect where the veterans come into play is definitely for the farmer training aspect. So they come from either a farming background or they have no farming background, and they come here and are able to experience organic agriculture and see what's all involved with those processes.
Great. And if somebody gets involved in that, what are their options or opportunities going forward?
We try to marry them up with different organic opportunities that align with where they want to live. Some of them are from out of the region, so we try to pair them up with activities back home or different farm or ag-related organizations, or we try to provide them follow-on opportunities at the seed farm there in Emmaus, or even at the Horn Farm Center located in York County.
Sure, great. And organic farming is growing. It's a booming industry, and so you're seeing that spread across the region, and so there are getting to be more opportunities for these veterans and others who are looking to get into organic farming?
Correct. It is a relatively small sliver of agriculture at the moment, but it is growing positively each year, so it's up to double-digit growth for several years now, and there are more and more opportunities each year for veterans to work at these organic farms, or even other interns that are participating here as well.
Great. And so why do you think there's so much growth in organic farming nowadays?
I think people are really starting to realize the benefits that healthy soil, healthy food, and healthy people, which is the mantra here at Rodale Institute. People are really starting to take hold of that and realize that it's important what they put into their bodies, that it's impacting their health, their welfare, their soil, the environment around them.
Absolutely, and it's also economically can be beneficial to the farmers as well, correct?
Correct. They can get a higher price point with some of their products because people are starting to appreciate that it takes a lot to be a farmer, and it takes a lot of hard work. You can't just necessarily go around spraying chemicals all over the place. It takes a little bit more labor and physical effort to get an organic product, but a lot of consumers are willing to pay a little bit more to purchase these organic products.
Okay. Well, I understand you're going to show us a couple different elements of the property here today. Where would you like to take us first?
How about we go out to the fields and see where a lot of the work's being done?
All right, that sounds nice. Let's go check it out.
Thanks.
Did you know that there are 6 ornate bronze chandeliers hanging in the house chamber? The 4 large chandeliers are estimated to weigh 3 tons each, yet these iron and brass fixtures painted in 18-karat gold manage to dangle effortlessly. It takes 168 light bulbs to light the large chandeliers and 84 light bulbs on each of the smaller chandeliers. As you can imagine, changing the light bulbs when they burn out is far from easy. Workers must build scaffolding in order to reach their 1,450 light bulbs. Today, special, long-life, low-wattage energy-saving bulbs are used to lessen the amount of times that the light bulbs will need to be replaced. Now you know.
Justin, we're out in the field now, and we're actually in a high tunnel where there's some tomatoes being grown. But why don't you tell us on the property in general, what are the different types of agriculture that you're doing here and the different types of foods?
Sure, so we have a lot of different types of vegetables, whether they're tomatoes, a lot of brassicas, different greens. We also grow some grains as part of our farm systems trial, which is an ongoing experiment comparing conventional and organic crop yields for grain products. That's been going on since 1981. And we also have a lot of different types of vegetables that are growing within our vegetable systems trial that's been going on since 2016, doing a similar experiment comparing conventional versus organic growths and how that's related to nutrient density, soil health, and different aspects like that.
Wow. So you have these different trials, and then also I understand that some of the agriculture, some of the food that's being harvested here goes out into the community as well.
Correct. It's part of our agriculture supported communities program. So the produce that's grown here that's organic, not part of the research trials, that is used to identify some and address some of the food needs within the food deserts within the Allentown and Reading areas, as well as part of our mobile farmers market.
Excellent. All right, well, why don't we take a walk down here, and so you can tell us a little bit about this tomato project that's going on. You have all different types of food that are being harvested, as you mentioned, and we have some beautiful tomatoes that are being grown here.
Some of the tomatoes within this particular high tunnel was part of a grafting experiment that was conducted earlier in the year, so they tried different techniques working with different hybrids, as well as different trellising techniques for how to optimize use of the high tunnel and kind of perfect the growing of organic tomatoes.
And then the veterans that you work with, they would come out and work on a project like this and help harvest these plants as well?
The veterans that participate in the program here, they're integrated with all the other interns that work here as well, so they work side by side with them and learn the same skills about organic agriculture that all the other interns learn about.
All right, fantastic. All right, we've made our way out of the fields and into the processing area, and now they're in the process of packing up some boxes here. Tell us what this is all about.
Correct. So all the produce that comes from the fields and the high tunnels and sometimes the greenhouse, they are used to be cleaned and processed here within the processing area. So they're washed and then they're eventually sorted and placed into the different share boxes that are part of our agricultural supported communities program.
And so now it's an opportunity for people in the community and elsewhere to buy into a share program where they can come pick up fresh produce every week?
Correct. They can, sign-ups are normally within the late spring, and once the slots are filled, then they're able to pick a different particular pickup location that works out for them. There's a couple various sites within the Lehigh Valley, predominantly within Allentown and Reading areas.
And all of this produce is beautiful. I mean, you can see the colors and the vibrancy of it is really just unlike what you might pick out in the store. So this is beautiful.
Yep, all great, wholesome, organic produce that we're happy to share and pass out to the Lehigh Valley residents and the greater community.
Terrific.
Did you know that the state capitol is not only the epicenter of the Commonwealth's governing bodies, but was once home to 390 preserved Civil War flags? During the war, it was customary for each state to furnish their regiments in battle with flags representing their contribution to the Union Army. After the war, Pennsylvania's military department was responsible for collecting the flags, and in 1872, they were reverently housed in the Capitol. Following the completion of construction on the new Capitol building in 1914, the Civil War flags were moved to the Capitol Rotunda. They were kept untouched in custom-made flag cases until 1982, when the Capitol Preservation Committee initiated its Save the Flags project. Throughout the years, dust and long-term vertical display of the flags had begun to devastate the brittle silk fabric and painted designs. The flags were removed by local textile conservators and were repaired and preserved in storage units that protect the relics from light, dust, and excessive handling. Now you know.
Justin, we've made our way into the underbarn classroom now, and you mentioned that one of the three pillars of the Rodale Institute is education, and so this classroom is used year-round for all different programs and projects, so why don't you start by telling us about some of those different efforts?
Sure, so here we are in our underbarn classroom. A lot of different activities occur down here. One of the main activities that occurs within the summer is we have a partnership with Delaware Valley University. It's called the Organic Farming Certificate Program, where students spend 2 semesters at Del Val, and their summer semester is actually here at Rodale Institute.
Oh, wow.
So they get a soil health and a plant health class, and that occurs within these.
Great. And how many
here.
students are in a class like that?
It varies. It's anywhere between 5 and 10 students, depending on a given summer. And then we also have guest lectures here throughout the year. We'll have different staff members provide information about what projects they're working on, so the whole entire staff and the interns are all briefed on what's going on. So this is kind of the hub of activity for the education that occurs here within Rodale Institute.
Very cool. And now, are there opportunities for people from the community to come in and learn through these projects and programs throughout the year?
Sure. We have different workshops that go on. They don't necessarily occur in here. Some do, but a lot of them are out in the field or different places here throughout the farm. And those are mostly within the spring and summer. One of the highlights of our training opportunities is the Rodale Field Day that occurs every July that brings several hundred people here, and they have different stations that they learn about all the different aspects of organic farming.
Great. And if people want to learn more about the Rodale Institute, do you have a website that they can visit?
Yes, we recommend that they contact any staff member or go to rodaleinstitute.org. We have a whole bunch of different programs there. It talks about our research that we share with different organizations and all the different things that we're studying, whether it's livestock integration, hemp, farm systems trial, vegetable systems trial, different training programs for veterans, for interns.
Terrific. Well, we're going to close out the show in just a minute, but I would love to hear how you got involved personally with Rodale Institute.
The way that I got involved was I was actually living overseas. I was in the military, then I got out and was working as a contractor overseas. I was looking to move back to Pennsylvania, kind of where I grew up. And this seemed like a unique opportunity. I didn't come from a farming background. I grew up in Franconia Township, which has a lot of farms, but we just lived in a ranch house there with my parents and siblings. But my wife is really big into horses, so I kind of got drug into agriculture, but I'm glad I did. So this seemed like a good melding of being able to learn about agriculture and work with veterans, which is something that I've done my entire adult life, so it seemed like a good fit. So,
well, that's fantastic.
So here I am.
Well, great. Well, thank you for everything you're doing. Again, the organic industry is booming here in Pennsylvania, and you guys are leading the way in that field. And everything that you're doing with veterans is so important for them as they transition back into civilian life. They're trying to figure out where they're going to go and what they're going to do, and this is a great opportunity and option for a lot of those veterans. So thank you again.
Yep. Thanks for coming, and people, you're welcome here anytime.
My pleasure. All right. Well, thank you again for everybody at home who is viewing this program today. On Legislative Report, I'm your state representative, Ryan Mackenzie, and we'll see you next time.